Ian here with Touratech-USA, and this is the install video for the F850GS lower engine crash bars. These crash bars are made out of stainless steel. They're media blasted and electropolished, so they look great and they last a long time. The hardware kit consists of a single M6 bolt with 2 washers and a nylock nut, 4 M8 bolts with 4 M8 washers, and 2 M10 bolts with 3 M10 washers and 1 M10 nylock nut. Before we can install the crash bars on the motorcycle, we'll need to remove this plastic cover using a Torx T25 on this screw right here. Aside from the screw at the back side of the cover, there's also a quick release rubber component at the front that you simply pull away from the motorcycle. Make sure to unclip the wire from the front before you pull away on the plastic piece. The left side crash bar is installed with 3 bolts, 2 M8 bolts here, and 1 M10 bolt here at the kickstand mount. Be sure to feed the leading edge of the crash bar behind the header pipes as you're installing it on the motorcycle. The 2 M8 bolts should be installed with a small amount of thread locker. Be sure to use one of the small M8 washers on each of the bolts. The M10 bolt should be prepared with a small amount of anti-seize. Use 2 of the M10 washers and the 1 M10 nylock nut. On the right hand side of the motorcycle, before we can install the crash bar, we need to carefully clip the zip tie holding the oxygen sensor wires in place, and then remove the zip tie mount from the threaded hole. The right side crash bar is installed using M8 bolts here, and an M10 bolt here at the rear. Take special care of the oxygen sensor wire while you're installing the crash bar. You don't want to pinch it in there. While you're sliding the crash bar into place, make sure that this female end of the crash bar slides over the male end of the left-hand side crash bar. The 2 M8 bolts should both be prepared with thread locking agent, and use 1 of the M8 washers on each bolt. The M10 bolt should be prepared with a small amount of thread locking agent, and use the remaining M10 washer. Now this set of crash bars is a pre-production unit, so the hardware that you have in this position may be slightly different than what you're seeing in the video here, but you need to make sure that the 2 sides of the crash bars are both lined up with each other so the hole in the center is clear. You're going to take an M6 bolt and slide it through the hole and then catch the nut on the back side. At this point, we're ready to tighten up all the bolts mounting these crash bars, starting with the M6 bolt in the center. Tighten the M8 bolts on both sides of the crash bar. These M8 bolts thread into the aluminum engine block, so be sure not to tighten them any further than 15 foot-pounds. On the left-hand side, the M10 nut is threaded into a nylock nut, so just snug those up gently. You'll use a 17mm spanner to hold the nut in place. The M10 bolt on the right-hand side is threaded into the engine case, so limit yourself to 15 foot-pounds. Don't forget to tighten up the wire with a zip tie. On the left-hand side of the motorcycle, this step's optional, but you can reinstall the plastic cover that you removed earlier. It snaps right back into place and the screws install just like factory. Alright, the crash bars are now installed on our BMW F850GS. You can see they look great on the front of the motorcycle and they offer a ton of protection to the sides of the engine. If you want to learn more about the products we make for this bike, visit our website, Touratech-USA.com, and share some photos with us on social media of the places you've taken your bike and used that protection. Thank you.